Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to one and all for the 12th session of the SUPER25 program, India's largest online stock traders conference. The topic of today's discussion is to validate strategies and maximize your wins. Okay. So friends, I was in the process of discussion with Pradeep. When during one of our discussion, I proposed this idea. Pradeep said, would you think it will be an interesting topic? I said it would definitely be a great topic because most of the traders today don't understand the power of backtesting and validation. Okay, I'm hoping that this would be a very interesting session to one and all. And before we move on, let me give a quick introduction to Pradeep. Well, friends, Pradeep Nazre works with me. Pradeep is my partner in crime. We both are working on some interesting projects together. So Pradeep is a algo trader by profession. So he trades on multiple strategies, and when I say he trades, most of his trades and my trades are part of our family trading. He is a very good AFL coder as well, unlike me, because I always depended on coders. But Pradeep, 3 years back, he had no idea about what AFL coding is, but he picked up big time, though he was not from the IT industry. He comes from a marketing background. Okay, we, myself and Pradeep, jointly we envisioned the concept of Algo Master, and we are working on various interesting strategies to be available for the retail and extended community. So we are with a vision of designing at least 50 worthy strategies to the markets, and we are in the process of automating each and every idea step by step. I have great pleasure to have him as a speaker today in SUPER25 program. Pradeep, accept my warm welcome on behalf of our community and the extended Traders Gurukul family.
Thank you, Ashok. Thanks a lot for the biggest introduction, and it's my pleasure to be here.
So with this, we will proceed with the session. Pradeep, the stage is yours.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to SUPER25. It is India's largest online stock traders conference, and today is the 12th session, and I'm going to discuss about validate strategies and maximize your wins. I personally thank GoToWebinar for being a sponsor for this program, and I request you all to have a small thank to GoToWebinar too. Since Ashok has already given the introduction about me, I don't think so I have to give anything more. However, a small part of me, I am a true believer of data beats emotion, and I have around 8 years of experience in the stock market, and also I'm the co-founder of algomaster.in along with Ashok. So, well, this session will give you an understanding about what is validation, why do we need to validate a strategy, how it is done, and methods to increase the probability of making profits in the stock market. So this is one of my favorite quotes. Well, if you know, there are many traders born every day hoping to make living out of the stock market or to make some money from the stock market, but mostly they tend to fail. Also, I've come across hardly 1 out of every 100 people making money in the stock market. See, the only difference between them is that they see the things as they are, and the rest of the rest hope for the things to happen, but they fail. This session will help you in understanding how to see the things as they are rather than the hope or your wish or your expectations. So let's start with what is validation. Let me not complicate it, but let me not complicate it much. It's very simple. It is a procedure to evaluate a strategy to check if the strategy has the potential to make money. And how do we validate it? By backtesting. Now, what is backtesting? With the set of defined rules of a strategy, we find the trades that occurred in the historical data and use this data to find the performance of the strategy. Okay, so what do you get from backtesting? A detailed information about how the strategy has performed in the past. See, what could have been my profit or loss? See, what is the highest drawdown and also varieties of data which will help you understand the overall performance of the strategy. See, there are some other benefits too, like gaining confidence in your system. You'll also beat the emotions by backtesting. So the theory is that the strategy that worked well in the past is likely to work well in the future, which means you are increasing your probability of making profits by backtesting and validating your strategy. Now, why do we validate? It's very simple. In the end, the only objective is to avoid losing your money. Now, let me go to the next slide. So there is a small example here. Okay, let's all imagine. Let me ask you this. Let's all imagine there's a treasure island, and you have the location of it. The catch is there is no transportation available to the island. So the only way is you need to swim to the island. Now imagine you don't know swimming. Would you risk your life and swim to the island? So if you ask me, definitely no. I would say no. I would not risk my life to get the treasure because my life is more important to me than the treasure. So you can relate this example to the stock market. So if you try trading without proper knowledge, you'll definitely end up losing your money. The luck is the last thing you can expect in the stock market to work. You may be very lucky, you may have one few good trades, but at the end, you will definitely lose. So this is just an example. So I have another example. So now the same example with a slightly different scenario. Let's say you attended the professional swimming course and you have learned swimming. So the question is, now would you risk it? If you say yes, then please rethink. Because just because you have learned swimming, do you think you do not have any other risk factors involved? The only difference between the first and second question is that the probability of survival has slightly increased, but not to an extent where I can take the risk. So comparing this to stock market is like you have learned some strategy, you started trading without testing it, which may lead to losing your money sooner or later. So what other information could reduce the risk and improve the probability of survival? Let's take an example of distance. Okay, so what is the distance to the island from the closest land possible? What if the distance is 10 kilometers and you can only swim 2 kilometers continuously? So without knowing this, if I take risk, anyways, I'll drown myself after reaching 2 kilometers. This is exactly like trading a working strategy, but without having the knowledge of its maximum risk. See, now that I have the information of the distance to the island, I will ensure I'll ensure to practice swimming continuously for 10 kilometers. See, but I'm also a moderate risk taker. So I have my own worries, like what if there is a small deviation in between without my knowledge, and I need to swim an extra 2 kilometers. Now again, my probability has gone down. This is exactly like betting a big amount of money or your entire investment into one or few trades, right? So what can be done here? See, I will consider myself I'm ready to take this risk only when I swim 25 kilometers or more continuously. Because what if there is no place to rest in the island and I have to swim back immediately? So 10 kilometers to reach there and 10 kilometers to reach back and 5 kilometers as a buffer in case if I have to swim more. Now you can see the probability of my survival has increased to a greater extent. So the same way, could be there could be any kind of factors, any kind of risk. Let's say what if the weather is extremely cold? Swimming in the cold water for such a long time is close to impossible. Should I wait for the weather to change or practice to swim in cold water? Or carry some suit which keeps me warm. See, these are all my secondary options. So I'm just talking about only just because I learned the weather is too cold, I decided to prepare myself to mitigate this risk. So these situations are just for an example. So there could be many other factors involved, but all that you need to know is relate this to the stock market. With the help of detailed data, we can increase the probability of making profits in the stock market. So this treasure island is the stock market. That it is right there in front of you. All that you have to do is with all the data possible, you should be able to reach without any worries. So let me go to the next slide. There's another thing which I always love to do. Practice is the key. Let's say if you have learned a strategy from a trainer, see, I personally request you all to verify and validate it, then practice well, and then go live. The reason is that Most of the trainers have more experience in live market. They may be in a position to handle any situation which you might not even think of. Again, sharing all the possible situations in the training is close to impossible, right? So the stock market is like completely dynamic. So can create any situations which are way beyond our imaginations. But if you have a solid plan implemented with backtest and validation, it is more likely that you can survive even in the bad phase of market. So this is the one reason where most of the trainers will still make money, and after teaching the same concept to the new trader, and they will end up losing money at the end, right? So practice is the key. Make sure anything that you learn, practice more, and then get into the live trading. So the types of backtest. There are two types of backtest methods. One is manual testing and the other is automated testing. Today we will be discussing about manual testing and brief of automated testing, because automated testing requires software coding knowledge, and not everyone among us here are equipped with the coding knowledge. So we'll be focusing more on the manual testing. Now, what is manual testing? It is done manually, by manually recording the trades occurred in the historical data and generating the performance report. See, I'm going to share a few more major advantages and disadvantages of manual testing. Let me start with advantages. So the first thing is it does not require any expensive tools, and it does not have any cost involved, no much cost involved, and you don't need any technical knowledge at all. Definitely, it will also allow you to observe extra points, like while testing you may be able to observe things which may help you fine tune the strategy or build more strategies. And on the other side, disadvantages, it has its own disadvantages too. It is highly time consuming compared to automated testing. It is a tedious job to manually test any strategies on a larger data, as it is highly time consuming again. So when you want to repeat the same test with change parameters, like you change the parameters, and a slightly, even if you change the smallest of parameter, again you will have to spend the entire amount of time, the same amount of time, to practice the same data. So it is also limited to testing less number of strategies at a time. So what about the tools required? A simple Microsoft Excel would do, or even spreadsheet preferred. And so you just have to input the trades in it and do the calculation to check the performance. And we'll also require historical data and charting tool only if required. So if you're using some kind of indicator or some kind of price action, so it's better to have a charting tool where you do the testing with the charting tool and mention the trades in the Excel, and then you find the performance of the strategy, right? So let's go to the next slide. So let's talk about automated testing. What is automated testing? Automated testing is done by using automation tool which executes the trade and the historical data, and it gives the performance report. So there are many tools available in the market to test these strategies, but I have personally used only Army Broker. So I don't know much about the other trading tools. So, but Army Broker is much better tool compared to any other tool. That's what I feel. So let's go to the advantages and the disadvantages of automated testing. See, advantages, I can consider the best advantages. Advantages, the less time consuming. It can test within few seconds to minutes, where manual testing may take even days to even months. So we can test multiple strategies in multiple systems, as it doesn't require manual intervention for testing. It can test a very large amount of data in no time. Also, it is very reliable and consistent, where humans are prone to making mistakes. So what about the disadvantages? Disadvantages are, simple. You need to have technical skills like software coding, where most of us do not have the software coding skill. So you may have to pay license fee to get the tool for testing. And automated testing is known for errors if not coded properly. Also, the limitation on rules. You cannot automate everything 100%. Also, it does not observe like a human being. So these are the disadvantages of a automated backtesting. So what about the tools that is required for automated backtesting? So you may require tools like Broker, Metastock, or TradingView. And again, you need to buy the license to perform the backtest. And of course, historical data is mandatory. And also, few people use servers to test the complex strategies too. Like I personally do that. I have a couple of servers. Like I run a lot of complex strategies in it, and I just let it run and wait for the report to generate. So servers if required. and technical skills. You need to have technical knowledge, like software coding knowledge.